Content over everything.
You're putting it aside.
No, we are.
No. The fact is, all we have is that centuries later, Muslims say we accept these hadiths, but we don't accept these hadiths, and these are our reasons. There is no way to know which ones are rooted.
There are the categories, the criteria for Bukhari and Muslim about how they narrate, how they document the hadith, to know which ones are authenticated. And as also all Muslims know, even the Bukhari and Muslim, it's not 100% hadith, sahih.
Yeah.
About 95%. Yeah. But we know, so the people that they transmit it from, it's not like Chinese whispers, where it gets distorted over time.
But you say it isn't. But clearly there were so many spurious hadiths that there was Chinese whispers. People were just making things up.
That's not Chinese whispers. People making things up is not Chinese whispers.
I agree.
Yeah, it's completely different. Yeah. So, but there are other methods in which we can know. So we've got, like, for example, who narrated the hadith, what were their life like, were they trustworthy? Those are the kind of criteria. And there are also other hadith where we can see that this relates to the Quran, so we can say, okay, so this happened. So, like, for example, there's a hadith about what the Prophet did, and we say, well, this is in the Quran. This is 100% true because it doesn't contradict it.
But let me. Hold on. You're saying that you reject a hadith that contradicts the Quran.
No. I said if we find a hadith where it says the Prophet did something, and we find it also in the Quran, then we say we can accept this hadith because it does not contradict the Quran.
So what happens if something contradicts the Quran?
Then we question it. We question the source. We question the mode of transmission.
So you're saying you would not necessarily reject a hadith that contradicts the Quran?
No, we would. I'm not saying we would look into it as to why. Because remember, not everything is stipulated in the Quran.
Yeah.
Like, for example, prayer. We're told to pray 5 times a day.
Yeah.
In the Quran,
but it's not in the Quran.
No, it is.
It doesn't say 5 times a day.
It tells you about the times of day.
No, let's be clear. Muslims construct 5 times a day out of verses in the Quran. It doesn't say pray 5 times a day.
Sorry, you're right. It does tell you to pray. It tells you the times of prayer.
Where does it tell you the times?
In Surah Hud, chapter. I'm terrible because of my memory. I can't just spit out.
It's a side point to the main.
Anyway, it does.
So I just want to be clear about this because you're given something an interesting answer.
Can I just finish it?
Yes, of course.
Because that was my memory.
No.
But it doesn't tell you exactly how to pray. It doesn't tell you how to perform ablution. All of this comes from the Sunnah Hadith. Yeah? So the Hadith are crucial because it tells us how the Prophet did so and so. Yeah? That's where we derive the Sunnah from as well. Right? So things like that. So that's why we start questioning. We go deep. So it's not a matter of blind faith or talking insane. We do actually reason. We do actually sit down, look at our sources, and say, okay, so this says so and so.
Yeah.
Why does it say so and so? Does it match the Quran?
Yeah.
Who narrated it? Blah 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 blah.
My question specifically, and to be fair, we've talked for a very long time, and I really like talking to this guy for a number of reasons. 1, you don't beat about the bush. 2, you're not ashamed of your book. 3, he will argue, even if I think your arguments are insane, but at least you've got the courage to stand there and argue for your convictions, which is better than a lot of the Dawah team. So I give you credit where credit is due. Credit where credit is due. But my final question and final point, and then let's wrap it up. Yeah. If I understood you correctly, you have said that if a hadith directly contradicts the Quran, you would not necessarily reject that hadith. Have I understood that properly?
Not necessarily, because it may give specific rulings about certain things.
So from your understanding, what is compulsion?
Compulsion,
forcing someone to do something, or forcing someone not to do something.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. And in the Quran, it says, let there be no compulsion in the religion.
Surah Al-Baqarah 2.
I'm not misquoting.
You're not misquoting.
According to Sahih al-Bukhari, what are the 3 reasons you can kill a Muslim?
You can kill a Muslim?
Yes. According to Sahih al-Bukhari.
Kill a Muslim or kill
a Muslim.
Else? I'm not aware of that. Can you?
Okay, Sahih al-Bukhari says that you can kill a Muslim for three reasons. One, if they kill without just cause. Two, if they commit adultery. And three, if they leave the religion of Islam.
Oh, the hudud.
Okay.
Oh, okay, you're referring to the hudud punishments.
Yeah. So you would agree? Would you agree that if you say to people, if you leave my religion, we're going to kill you, that is forcing them to stay in the religion?
All right. No. Because there was. Let's expand on the apostasy.
Yeah.
All right. There is rulings on apostasy. So if someone apostates from the religion, they are free to do so. You cannot touch them. No. Listen.
All right, go on.
Okay.
I've listened to you so far. This is not the first insane argument you made, but go on.
But they should not go and bring up dirt or insult other people of the former religion or cause social.
So when in the hadith Muhammad says you can kill someone for leaving the religion of Islam.
But then you need to go and look at the rulings behind it.
When
you need to go and look at the rulings behind
these rulings?
There is
hold on.
Hanafi school.
Hold on. These rulings came when?
At the time.
No.
You just made up your own opinion.
You quoted the Islamic school of Hanbali, right? When was the school of Hanbali formed?
I'm not sure.
I tell you, it wasn't at the time of Muhammad.
Yeah.
So you're quoting.
No, but you're looking at the schools before, but I always
You
go.
did. You mentioned it.
No.
Hanbali came out of your mouth, not mine.
I said Hanbali actually.
Well, we Hanafi then.
Yeah, I said Hanafi in terms of the schools of thought that we have today. But
the school of thought. Hold on. The school of thought came later.
Okay, but I always go back to the Prophet himself.
And what did the Prophet say?
Yes, he said that, but.
So
when
where
we actually look into the sources. Yeah, I say I can't bring up all the references. I do have the resources at home, the sources, not resources, but the sources at home. But there are laws. I mean, if he causes social, what's the word?
Where did Muhammad say this?
I can't give you the source right now.
Right, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. But my point to you is, my point to you is that...
Can I just finish? Because I know I haven't been given the source, but let me just finish. And even if someone starts going out and saying bad things about the religion and so forth, they are given chances to redact from that. And then it actually goes to trial and everything. So actually there is a trial for it.
Yeah,
and even,
I'm sure there would be.
And even up to then, even if they don't, then the punishment is enforced.
So let me ask you this question.
Unless he become a warrior.
Let me ask you this question. If Britain passed, do a thought experiment with me. If Britain passed a law saying that anyone who becomes a Muslim...
We're finishing in 5 minutes.
Yeah. If Britain passed a law that said anyone who becomes a Muslim will be executed...
Sorry, say that again, I was distracted.
If anyone passed a law saying anyone who tries to leave the Christian faith to become a Muslim, they can be executed...
No, like I said...
No, hold on, one second. Do a thought experiment with me.
Okay, go on.
We're imagining a world in which the British government says anyone who wants to leave the Christian faith to become a Muslim, they should be killed. Would you object to that law as being unjust?
I like the fact that you've been researching.
If it's just like that, yeah.
You would object to it?
If it's just like that.
Yeah.
No, but that's not the instance. That's not the case with Islam. It's not only if you apostate. No, there are certain if you apostate, there is no punishment.
Preach that to your Muslim brothers. Practice it yourself.
If there is,
I can't take lying. That's all.
Practice it yourself, man.
I'm trying my best.
If there is, well, listen, look, this is on camera, so people can fact check me.
Yeah. I agree with you that the school of Hanafi sets in conditions.
Yes.
I'm not arguing with that.
Okay.
What I'm saying to you is Muhammad never said that.
Like I said, I have the sources at home. I will go dig them up.
Yeah, please.
And I'll come back to you.
Stick them on the video. Soko film, stick them on the video.
Okay.
So that I could go away and look into them.
Fair enough.
What I want to see is Muhammad saying, in this condition, you don't kill the apostate.
Because I'm pretty sure that I think there was an example or two where people have apostated and no punishment was set upon them. But I will have to again look at it.
Yeah.
And then I'll post the
Because my point to you is this.
Yes, go on.
Yeah. And I'll leave you with this. Like, you've been very civil in comparison to the Islamic Dawah team. So much better than in terms of your conduct. You're an example to them. You really are. But in terms of our discussion, you have argued the following things. That a 6-year-old is legally able to enter into that is sufficiently intellectual to enter into.
Not
Aisha.
Okay, Aisha.
Yeah. That it was okay to have sex with a 9-year-old child. That there is no need for an age of consent to protect children. That silence.
I did say there was a system to protect.
There's no age of consent.
No age of consent, but there is a system to protect
Okay,
women.
fair enough. No, that is a fair correction. That is a fair correction. That silence can be taken as consent.
Yes.
That literature that came hundreds of years later is justifiable because it's got a list of names to attach to it.
Not just a list of names, but we go into. We know who these people are.
You say you do.
Well,
You say you do.
the isnad, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
but you're talking in the 21st century, right?
Yes.
How do you know who
this
that
has been
person
recorded
was?
throughout the
Right,
the
but
past
every
14
time that I've asked you for source documents from the 7th century.
No, because we don't come here prepared for a
Yeah,
specific
but no, hold
question,
on.
innit?
You're not listening to me. Every time I've asked you for a source document from the 7th century, you haven't produced one. You produced one from the 10th century.
From the hadith. Well,
Yeah.
you're asking for a hadith.
Yeah, so the point is...
And like I said, the
So
hadith
you haven't
was
produced
not,
any source documentation from the time. If you ask me as a Christian, what documents can you produce to evidence your belief? I pick up the New Testament.
From the first
And the
century,
New
from the
Testament
first-
was
I know,
written by 90 AD.
parts, not the whole. Not
No,
the
the whole of the Testament was complete by 90 AD. This is the position of Bruce Metzger, Bot
You
Ehrman,
don't have the
Daniel
manuscript.
Wallace.
whole. You don't have the manuscripts.
Neither do you.
We do.
From the 7th century.
We have the Birmingham manuscript. We've got the top copies manuscript.
Talking about the Hadith.
Oh, yeah, but now you're talking about the Bible, so the Quran.
Okay. Well, for me,
trying to equate
for me,
the
actually,
comparison.
for me, the proper equation is Bible to Hadith. Actually.
That's not. I don't think that's fair because now you're talking about what do you call it? Religious scripture.
The Quran is a direct comparison.
The direct
is not
comparison
actually
is-
possible between Christianity and Islam. We believe different things. But what I'm saying to you,
I think it could be.
is
Well, that's another
I
subject.
can produce evidence closer to the time of the things that I believe in than you can.
I disagree.
So, but everything you believe about Sharia law is based upon the hadiths used to interpret the Quran, and the hadiths you would agree came from the 10th century, right?
The Quran also contains laws, yeah, which is part of the Sharia. Yeah?
No.
Which is further explained by hadith.
Hold on. You're not being completely genuine. Don't falter what has been a perfect
No.
discussion.
I'm not because
The Quran does
I-
not give licit description of Sharia. You use the hadiths to interpret the Quran.
That's what I just said.
Okay, but the hadith literature came in the 10th century, and you have no documentation from the
Well,
7th
actually, Bukhari-
century to the hadith. None.
Well, that's because you don't accept the way we transmit our hadith and the way we
Right.
follow them back to the sayings of the Prophet himself.
But I'm saying to you that as a Christian,
I will try and find the actual.
I'm saying to you as a Christian, I have a first century collection of documents called the New Testament that the church
The whole of
gave,
it?
Yes, the church gave birth to. The church gave birth to. The church is the original community, and it gave birth to these texts for itself, for its own use. Yeah? And these are far closer to the time. Now, just do a thought experiment with me. One last one and then we'll stop. 'Cause I really do have to stop. And you're
Fair enough.
shivering. You
Yeah,
know.
it's a kind of.
It is a cold day, and you've been a really, really nice person to speak to. So, do this thought experiment. We have two testimonies about events. One that came 200 years later, and one that was written at the time. But they're talking about two different events, and they're two separate sets of documents. I know it's clear I'm making an allusion to the Hadith and the Injil. But which would you be more inclined to believe? The documents that came 200 years later, or the documents that were written within 60 or 70 years of the events that they're describing?
I'll study both and draw my conclusions from the reliability of the documents. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't matter what they call it exactly how. No,
Are you Muslim?
no, of course.
Okay, well, what they do, I respect it.
Okay,
They're putting a camera.
we're going to stop.
They're putting a camera.
Shamsi
This guy is
the
known as
first,
coincidence.
the Caliph of the Caliph
I'm not
of
Khalifa,
the
bro.
Caliph of
Can I speak
the
something?
Caliph of
But
no,
I'm not Khalifa, I'm
Shamsi,
advising you,
Shamsi,
brother.
you had your chance
You take
to
my
debate
advice.
me.
Yourself.
You walked
This
away.
guy, he doesn't
Me
answer
and him
questions.
have a very
He doesn't ask
friend-
questions.
Have I answered questions?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So
be
you
fair,
just
to be
lied
fair-
about me.
You're a liar.
You just lied lied about me. You said I don't answer
Is
questions.
your forefather
He
pedophile?
said,
Answer my question now. Is your forefather
by
pedophile?
today's standards, yes.
Yes, okay.
So,
All the people that call his forefathers pedophiles.
That's absolutely
Therefore,
right.
great is not, British is not
so
great.
is your prophet.
No,
So-
it's not.
so-
It's not.
oh,
Because
right.
your
So
English
why-
law
why-
is not criteria for my
Sorry.
prophet.
So, Shamsi,
With English law is not criteria for my prophet.
Shamsi,
That's it. On the camera, he said my
Do you want
forefathers
to
were
debate?
pedophiles.
Shamsi,
That's
do you
it.
want
That's
to
what I
debate?
want.
Do you want
No,
to debate?
If you let me speak.
So why are you interrupting?
No, I'm saying because my
Why are you
brother.
interrupting?
I know what you do.
He's being
You
very
come to a
civil.
brother-
You are not being civil.
I know what you do.
What did that
you do.
boxer guy
You come to
say
a brother,
about
he's a young
controlling
brother,
the tongue?
and you try to ask him questions.
What did the
Brother,
boxer
are you
guy
knowledgeable in
say?
Islam?
What did the boxer guy say? Shamsi, a good example.
I can hold my ground.
Khalas, inshallah, that's my advice to you. Because that's what it does. Alhamdulillah.
Because we're having a civilized. I know,
No problem.
I know what you may think of him, but because we're having a civilized, there's no reason for me to.
Oh, no
use-
problem. No, I'm
He's
saying,
doing fine.
what I'm saying, what he
Stop
does, he
interrupting
will put you on a
Shamsi.
camera. A Muslim doesn't know how to
Shamsi.
answer questions.
Shamsi.
He's not to do that.
But that is
If
what
you
the
know-
Islamic
No,
Dawah team.
that's what I'm saying.
That is what
I
the
know,
Islamic
but- I know,
Dawah team
but
do
to be
every
fair to
week.
him, he has
Your
not done that. He's
words
not-
condemn
No, he'll do it.
yourself.
We'll put the video.
Shamsi. Your words
does that-
condemn
No
yourself.
problem.
If he
As
does
long
that-
as you know,
Last
Akhi,
week,
that's it. It's my advice to you, my brother.
you
Likewise,
made
you
a
advise me.
video attacking
You're a
me
Muslim brother.
personally.
And forgive me if I
You made a video attacking me personally.
You said on the
Yeah?
camera,
So-
you said on the camera
so,
praising
Shamsi,
the murderers of the
stop
Jews and the
interrupting.
Christians.
Stop
And the
interrupting.
Muslims, that's it.
Stop interrupting. So,
Anyway, brother, so
Anyway.
forgive me for cutting you, eh?
yeah. Notice Shamsi only asks one of the people that he was interrupting for forgiveness. So he seems to think that the rudeness of interrupting two people in his superiorist ideology, he only has to apologise to one of them. That says a lot about Shamsi's heart. That says a lot about Shamsi's heart. He's rude to both of us, but he only apologises to one.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I'm sorry for that as well.
Thank you very
No, I'm
much.
sorry. No, I agree with that. Without any doubt. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. So, Mohammad, I think you're bonkers. But you've done it with style, mate. All the way through, you've done it with style. I would encourage you, brother. Do you have an NGO?
I don't.
I don't. Can you read Arabic?
I read it online.
You can read Arabic.
Yes, I do.
Giving him homework.
I like homework.
You've been an absolute pleasure to talk to.
You as well.
You've been very nice. We're not going to label this video Muslim does not answer questions. We're going to label this video Honest Muslim answers questions.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Applause,
That's
applause.
the title.
Applause.
Applause for this man. Right? Integrity.
Integrity.
Right? So this is my gift to you. Okay? I have argued with
I don't
you.
have a gift for you, man.
You don't need to. We have argued patiently with one another in a very civilized conversation, in which I have tried my best to demonstrate to you the inferiority of Islam, and you have tried your best to demonstrate the superiority of Islam as a system of law. Okay? My way of life as a Christian is not a system of laws. It's not a Sharia. It's not laws. Yeah?
We do have to follow laws.
We do have to follow laws, but my way of life is an ethic based upon a relationship with God and my community.
Same here. That's
Yeah.
what Sharia is.
Right, but we don't make laws. We try to influence the secular law of the society that we're in, but what we don't do is we try to create a system of laws for all time, because we know time changes and circumstances change. So I give this as a gift to you.
Thank you.
This is the source material that I would say is all dated from 1980. Have a read of it. Maybe we'll meet one another again. Hopefully, you can do your own research. Come back with those sources to me. We'll talk some more another time. You look after yourself. You too, man. Take care.
Can I answer? Can I give some more answer?
No, you had your chance.
Okay, so you don't want to talk to me? You don't want to talk to me? Bob, do you want to talk to me on this one?
No,
You don't want to?
no, I'm tired now.
I will try maybe next week.
Hey, you want to do a video response? I have to go now. You want to do a video response on Shamsi?
No, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered by doing it. Let him make whatever accusation.
Okay, I've followed on you. We know you did that. You've been an undercover Christian. I've followed. Give the money. You go 50-50. You go 50-50. Because if he does, then he will question Bob, any new followers over the years? Microphone back. Hey, what's your title? Hey, what's your title? Hey, what's your title? That's how biased you are. Because you're not allowed to read your title.
If you'll permit us,
Content over everything. From young to middle. Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to.
Doesn't help. Doesn't work with.
Man, don't listen to
That's a human being's full stop. Listen, a cow, what's this? A cow is supposed to drink, cows that produce their own, is supposed to drink their own milk. That's why they got bare different little, nipples for bare different little ones to come and, right. See us, listen to this, good. This is why you see most of the females today that care about becoming